Alright, today's Subarea is the Gear Step Subarea in Luncheon Kingdom. So this one's actually only used in all moons in 100%, and so I'll just be going over the strats for those. And you can find it here at the Meat Plateau. As always, I'm going to start off with the casual strat just so you guys have an idea of how you might have done it when you first played the game, and how you might be doing it now as well. So pretty much you grab the fire bro, you start lighting these lanterns. There are actually 5 of them throughout the level. And once you get to the end, once you light all 5 of them, then you get both moons. And the Subarea is done. Just got 2 more here. And this last one might take a couple tries when you first start out. No big deal. But that's how you do the Subarea casually. Alright, so now I'm going to go over the 4 different strats for the Subarea. And before we start, I'd like to note that the strats are only 2 seconds apart from the slowest to fastest. So first of all, you should be doing whatever is most consistent for you. And then once you're consistent, then you can add in the faster strats. But anyway, let's get started with, we'll go slowest to fastest here. So for this first strat, you skip the first fire bro to come up to the second one here. And you want to light the second lantern first, and then you can snipe the first lantern from here. And I will note it's a little bit difficult to aim, so you just have to practice aiming quickly and being able to correct your direction right after that. Light the second lantern from there. And note how I'm standing here. It's a little bit faster to stand here instead of a little bit further up on the platform. And that's because you don't have to wait quite as long for this guy to come and lift you up. Light the 4th lantern, come up here, and you're done. So the second strat here is actually what Fur used to do. So it's a lot more similar to the casual way. You actually capture the first fire bro again. And note how I don't wait for this platform. I actually can just jump off of him right where he comes. And this part's a little bit inconsistent, so you just kind of have to manage where you are and where the platform is coming up below you. So just make sure that you're aware of that. Alright, here, you'll notice that I threw 2 fireballs. That's because this fire bro will always jump here. So you actually need to throw 2 fireballs. The first one needs to hit the fire bro, and the second one needs to hit the lantern. It's not quite as hard as it sounds, but it is somewhat precise, so it's definitely something that you want to practice. And kind of the same thing here. Jumping off the same platform, and nothing different here. Just kind of the same thing that we saw earlier. So this strat can be used if you think you're more consistent with it. I don't personally like it, but if it's something that you want to do, by all means go for it. This clip's a little bit different. We're actually going to be using a strat that Philly found about a year ago. So instead of getting the first fireball with a captured fire bro, this time we're actually going to let the top one just throw a fireball down. And to do this, we're actually going to take a little bit of a wider line. So you'll notice that I headed a little bit off to the left. I'll show that again. So I headed a little bit more off to the left instead of direct. And that positions this top fire bro to send a fireball straight down into the lantern. So this saves a little bit of time because you don't have to send a fireball yourself while you're captured. And you can get this one. This jump is very tight. It's something that you definitely need to practice if you want to use this strat. I personally wouldn't recommend it because this one's about the same as the last one, and the last one's much easier. But if you want to do it like this, you can. So just be aware that this jump is tight and it takes some practice. You have to take advantage of like every bit of height that you can. Here I take damage. I'm unoptimal, unfortunately. So here, you'll notice that this jump is going to be super far. And again, it's kind of the same thing as the other jump that we just saw. You have to make sure you jump mid-air at the right time in order to maximize your distance and your height. So again, if you're going to do this, you're going to have to practice quite a bit. And I personally wouldn't recommend this strat, but you can do it. And you can actually make the jump from the second block space over if you're just going to do the normal strat. Here, I'll show that one real quick. So you can make it from one more step backwards. It's just a lot tighter, and it's not something that I would necessarily recommend for RTA. This strat's going to start off almost exactly the same as last time. But we have a different way of getting to the fire bro. So before we did a cap return jump off the lantern and then capture the fire bro from there. So this was nice because it made it super easy to capture the fire bro. But the drawback was that there's a little bit higher of a chance that you're not going to have the fire bro hit the lantern. So you just have to make sure that your line is pretty tight for that and you're going the right way quickly. For the second way, the line isn't the problem. We're actually going to jump around the lantern here. And that's going to make sure that the fire triggers every single time. You're never going to have a problem with that. The problem is going to come when you try to capture the fire bro. So it's a little bit harder. I mean, I'm making this sound harder than it is. They're both super consistent. But just for the first one, it's a little bit harder to get the fire to trigger. Second one, it's a little bit harder to get the capture to work. So you just got to balance that out, figure out what works best for you. But they're both super consistent. You can do either one, and they're within a frame or two of each other, so it's not a big deal. At least for micros. So here you're going to notice that I jumped over that block. So usually if I'd walked there, the block would have popped up and I would have been launched into the air. But by jumping over it, I avoided the block coming up. And that's good because the block's actually going to follow me and I'm going to use that to get up on the second platform. So be sure that you don't trigger the block there. Okay, and then here you're going to see that I took a wild shot behind me. This takes a lot of practice. It's not necessarily something that I would do RTA, but it is a little bit faster from my clips, and so you can do it. And you'll notice that I missed the first shot in this fourth lantern here. That's not a big deal because you can actually just shoot right here and it doesn't even lose time. And then you just hit the fifth shot normally. In today's Advancing Beyond RTA Strats segment, I'm going to show you this cool jump you can do. Okay, so this might not look too hard. I don't know if it does or not. But pretty much you're going to see that I came from the very back of this block here. This is because I need some momentum. And then I use that momentum, I jump off the very, very edge. You can see that I barely made it. I threw a fireball at the peak height, and then right after I threw the fireball, I uncapture and dive into the platform. So this is a super tight jump. I would never do this RTA, but it's very cool, and it's honestly amazing that Shovel was able to figure this out. But anyway, that's how you do it. So if you guys have any comments, if you have questions, let me know, and I will do my best to answer. And I'll see you guys in the next video.